Hi friends, it's Jules. Welcome to Jules Reads. This is my weekly reading and what I watched on TV and for movies for week 38 of 2025. It is September 21st. I do these videos outside no matter what in Minnesota. It is gorgeous today. It is like 77 degrees Fahrenheit. I shouldn't even have a sweatshirt on, but I am in fall mode, so I have a sweatshirt on. All right, so for backyard creatures this week, we have had a lot of squirrels, chipmunks, and birds. And the chipmunk, we call him Chippy. I know it's several chipmunks, but we like to think it's just one chipmunk, and his name is Chippy. All right, so let's get into it. The one book I finished is Kate Quinn's The Briar Club. I actually ended up giving this a 5-star book. I thought as I was reading it, it was gonna be more like a 4 or 4.5, but once I read the historic author's note at the end, that made it a 5-star for me. And this book is set in the 1950s in Washington, D.C. It follows a group of women bound by circumstance, each navigating their own traumas, secrets, and bargains with one another and with history itself. Their relationships, alongside compelling mystery and historical tension, make the boarding house feel alive. Although there are many characters in this book, I actually didn't have a problem with that. Sometimes I would have a problem with that, but the way it was narrated, I did this on audio, the way it was narrated really helped me to keep the characters separate, and also the way it was written as well. And it is narrated on audio by Saskia Marlaveld. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. She does a phenomenal job narrating it, and I'm definitely interested in reading more Kate Quinn and reading more from that narrator. I've already got the next, or not the next one, but another Kate Quinn book that's narrated by the same narrator. That is The Diamond Eye, and I have that already in my queue to check out. I love this book. It definitely has some feminist feels to it, and there's also recipes throughout the book, because they do have like a weekly dinner on Thursday nights together where they each cook different things, and so there's recipes in here. So what I've heard is that people in their book clubs, this would be a great book club book, it was for us actually, is they're getting together and having a potluck, and everybody makes something different from this book and they bring it. I'm like, that is an amazing idea. I want to just make some of these recipes in here, but I highly recommend this. Kate Quinn, historical fiction, but it does have some mystery, really good mystery and a little bit of thriller in it, so I really like this. And Kate Quinn is becoming a favorite author. I feel like I need to read a third by her to make it official. I also read The Rose Code. I like this one better than The Rose Code, but I did do that one on audio as well. I'm assuming I actually have the same narrator, but I really like that book as well. So I am getting on the Kate Quinn bandwagon. For physically reading, I'm actually reading 4 books right now. 1 is on audio, 3 are physical. It's just leaves blowing. Some of the movies I've been watching, it could be a creature coming up behind me. I guess you'll see it before I do. But yeah, so the audio one I'm doing is, I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes, is The Ruin by Dervia McTiernan. It was published in 2018. It's a crime thriller novel, like a detective novel, and it is a series. There's more in it. It takes place in Ireland, and the narrator on audio is Irish. This is about a detective named Cormac who's working on cold cases. I'm not very far into it, so I can't really say too much about it, but I am really enjoying it, and I will let you know more next week. And then I'm about 100 pages into Mary by Nat Cassidy. This book. It was published in 2022. It's about a middle-aged woman going through menopause, samey. And then she's fired from a job in New York City. She moves back to Arizona to take care of her very obnoxious Aunt Nadine. It's a horror novel, but so far the biggest horror has been her aunt. I'm excited to let you know more next week. I'm about 100 pages into it. I think it's like 400 pages. It's around 400 pages. So I should be able to finish that by next week. And then I have just gotten into Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. This is written, I think, 20 years before Dracula. So some people say this is what inspired Dracula. I'm really liking it. And as far as the writing goes, I thought it would be less approachable, but actually it feels more modern to me. So I don't know if it's been edited and translated to be that way. Whoa. Blinded by the light. let's just move you a little bit. Okay. And then the other book I'm physically reading, and I just got into it, but it is, again, both of these books are pretty short. And then that is Stephen King, Rita Hayworth, and The Shawshank Redemption. So good so far. I am immediately drawn in from the first 10 pages. I'm like, yes. So this is about, obviously Shawshank Redemption is a prison. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the movie, if not read the book as well. But this is, it's told from Red's perspective, which in the movie is Morgan Freeman. I think in the book he's an Irish guy. And then the, what's the main character's name? Why am I not thinking of it? Andy Dufresne. And so he is accused of murdering his wife and her lover. And so it's about that, whether he really did do it or not. And then it's just about the prison. And so far, I'm only this far into it, not very far. Let's see what page. 17. And I've already like grasped. It's pulled me in. There's no chapters, which kind of annoys me. But it's a quick read. Both of those I should have done next week. So I will have a pretty good update for you next week. All right. Hauls and books on my radar. I have quite a bit to talk about here because I'm really excited to tell you about an event I went to. It was a William Kent Kruger book signing. I went with my In Real Life book club. We call ourselves Fight Club. And the book he signed is the newest Cork O'Connor series, book in the series. It's called Apostles Cove. And he did write, so he wrote Julie in it. So I got to meet him. Oh my gosh. To Julie, and it has indigenous word in here, and I should look it up to see what it means. But yeah, I cannot believe I met William Kent Kruger. He's definitely one of my favorite authors, and that sun feels so much better going away. It was an amazing experience. Some of the fun things he talked about is there is a TV perhaps in the works about Cork O'Connor, and he's actually met with the creators or producers of Outlander. They have come to Minnesota and visited the regions, the boundary waters where Cork O'Connor lives, and they have researched and they're looking into making it a TV show. Now he said, you know, it's Hollywood, so it may never happen, but that was promising. That would be so cool. Oh my gosh, that'd be so exciting. Oh, and the other interesting thing about him is he goes by his middle name, Kent. So I always say William Kent Kruger, but he said, just call me Kent. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, it was a really, if you ever have, he does a ton, he said he does 60 to 90 events a year. So if you have the chance, he most likely is coming to some state near you because he goes all over the United States. I would check it out. If you're a William Kent Kruger fan, I would check it out, or just a Kent fan. And then something else interesting I have to talk about is we went to Bayfield, Wisconsin last weekend, which is why I didn't have an update last weekend. And we went to this cute little bookstore, Apostle Island Books, and I bought actually there Wellness by Nathan Hill. I actually heard about this from another booktuber. Actually, it's sisters that do a channel, and I cannot think of their name, but I heard about this from them. It's kind of about how we're in this generation just obsessed with like Fitbits and tracking everything and all the vitamins and supplements and all that stuff. And what I didn't realize is that it's very long. It's a 600-page book. It doesn't seem like it, so the pages must be thin. I might try and do this on audio. It's not a priority for me right now. I'm kind of in my spooky era right now. So that's why I have those 3 books that I'm currently reading, but I love the cover. But what's interesting is my husband and I were sitting at the bar while we were in Bayfield because he had to watch the Notre Dame game. And we meet the manager of that bookstore. She sits right next to us and she starts talking about something. And I did overhear her and her friend, they had just gotten back from a wedding, talk about the bookstore. So I was eavesdropping and I heard that she's the manager, and I'm like, so start talking to her, and then I say, what was your favorite book that you've read so far this year? And she said, I can't think of the name of it, but I know the author is like Charlotte McConaughey, and I say Charlotte McConaughey's Wild Dark Shore, and she just looked at me like, because That is my favorite book of the year so far. It was one of those synchronicity type things. It was amazing. And so then she said, well, if you like Wild Dark Shore, this is what else you should read, which was so fun because I mean, I really value her opinion. If her same favorite book of the year is mine, I mean, what are the chances? There's millions of books. Like, I know it's a new release, but like, my favorite book could be Shawshank Redemption from 1980 something. It was crazy. But she said one of the books is, let me see. Oh, All the Water in the World by Erin Cathell. Now, I don't have this book yet, but it's definitely on my radar. She said it's where kind of the same as Wild Dark Shore, where the sea levels are rising so much that it's starting to flood mainlands, and it floods New York City, and people gather in the History Museum, and how they navigate through what they're through all of this. And she said it does get actually violent, but I'm so curious about that. I definitely want to read that. The other book she recommended, I did pick up, and that is Burn by Peter Heller. She said this book is about friends or cousins. It says, Jess and Story, friends since boyhood, have been hunting off the grid in Maine when they reach a small town and are shocked by what they find. A bridge blown apart, buildings burned to the ground, and bombed out cars abandoned on the road. Although the state of Maine has convulsed all summer with political unease, nothing prepared them for sudden violence and destruction all around. I think, yeah, the Maine is succeeding. What do you call that? Seceding? It's becoming not a part of America. I can't think of the word. I thought that sounded really interesting. Kind of dystopian craziness. I like how on the cover there's an American flag. I was asking my husband, can Minnesota become its own country? I would really like that. It's like, well, there's a lot of things that would need to happen, and it would be very complicated. So those books I picked up, and then I mentioned some other ones on my radar. The other thing in my conversation with this manager and her friend was talking about a book he can't put down right now, and that was Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. And he just said he can't put it down. And now I'm realizing that this author is very respected and well known and prolific. So I need to find one of her books to read as well. Whereabouts sounds good, but there's also other ones. I think her debut won the Pulitzer Prize, something like that. But that is something on my radar as well. And then the last book that I got on my radar this week, I watched the movie Stir of Echoes, and the babysitter was reading a book. So I looked it up, and it was The Shrinking Man by Richard Matheson, who also wrote the novel Stir of Echoes, so what the movie is based on. So of course I added both those to my never-ending TBR and put those on my radar. And Richard Matheson, he also wrote What Dreams May Come and I Am Legend. So hello, yeah. All right, now let's get into movies and TV. Well, we're still on our Survivor kick. We are now on season 31. So we are on our 11th season. In the last couple of months, we are obsessed. Now my husband's even talking about maybe trying out. So can you imagine? Oh my gosh, okay. All right, and I finished Dexter Resurrection and absolutely loved it. If you are a Dexter fan, you have to watch Dexter Resurrection. I actually gave up on Dexter Original Sin. Dexter Resurrection, totally different and way better in my opinion, and it ended perfectly. They are gonna it's renewed for another season, so I'm loving that we get to see more Dexter. And then I watched 6 spooky movies for spooky season. So The Gift, this came out in 2000 and stars Kate Blanchett, Katie Holmes, Keanu Reeves, Giovanni Ribisi, Hilary Swank, and Greg Kinnear. So it's a huge cast. It's about Kate's character named Annabelle, who is a psychic, and she ends up trying to help find a young woman who disappears. I really like it, and I think it's worth the watch. Then The Conjuring, this came out in 2013. It's about paranormal investigators Ed and Lauren Warren. It stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine, and then it also has Ron Livingston and Lily Taylor. The acting is great, and the atmosphere was really well done. It has a lot of good scares and tension. I really liked it. And Before I Go to Sleep came out in 2014. It stars Nicole Kidman, Colin Firth, and Mark Strong. It's based on a book by S.J. Watson. It's about Nicole's character, Christine, who she wakes up every day and she has no memory of who she is, where she lives, who her husband is. And so every single day, it does have a little bit of a groundhog feel to it, which I don't like, but she gets a little bit more progress as to figuring out why she is in the situation she's in. There's good twists, and it makes you think one thing when it's actually something else. So it's a really good psychological thriller. When I watched Midsommar, what the bloody hell is that? I can't even recommend this movie to too many people. That I did have one friend that I recommended it to because she would probably appreciate it like I did. I don't know if you saw those squirrels, but it is so bonkers. It's about a group that travels to Sweden to visit a rural midsummer festival, and I can't say too much about it without spoilers. It's written and directed by Ari Aster, who also wrote and directed Hereditary. I need to watch that. I just say watch at your own risk, and that's about all I can say about it. And then I watched Stir of Echoes, came out in 1999. It stars Kevin Bacon and Catherine Erb. Kevin's character, he gets hypnotized by one of their friends, and then he starts having visions of a missing girl from their neighborhood. I thought it was really, really good. It's a good mystery, and I recommend checking it out. And then lastly, I want to talk about The Village. This is from one of my favorite writer-directors, M. Night Shyamalan. It came out in 2004 and stars, the cast is incredible. Sigourney Weaver, William Hurt, Joaquin Phoenix, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Adrian Brody, just to name a few. There's way more that you would recognize. This is another movie where I can't say too much about it without giving spoilers, but it's about a small village that has a tragedy where Bryce's character, who is blind, is tasked with taking on a journey to help the village and someone she loves. All right, that is my wrap up for this week. I hope you guys are having fun this spooky season. I'm sweating a little bit. And I hope the weather is decent where you are and you're having a good reading, movie, TV week. I would love to hear what you're reading and watching. The squirrels are going nuts. Okay, I will check in with you guys next week. I do have a couple videos that I've already filmed. It's my most anticipated books, movies, and TV for quarter 4. So I will be releasing those soon as well. But I will check in with you guys soon. Take care.